So for today, we are playing as the Tomb Kings against, Tomb Kings and Vampire Coast against currently Deadly Bunny's Empire. We've brought ourselves a very mobile force, 2 monsters, and the Lore of Death. Instead of Spirit Leeching, we've brought us some leadership debuffs. You can cause terror, you can debuff their armor, and try to break the Empire front line quickly as possible with this rush build. Looks like, however, he is not going for an artillery style himself. Instead, opting for what looks to be great swords. Interesting choice. I'm not sure if this is a standard Empire play. It definitely feels a little bit different. And there is the problem that all of these Empire Knights are actually a little bit difficult to take care of. Also sniping out my Lord, or my caster that is, who will have to try and juke out this fireball to the best of his abilities. We'll run sideways to it, and it looks like that does indeed manage to keep him safe. Now our cavalry will want to get in onto the huntsman. So that's gonna be the goal. His infantry actually greatly outclasses mine, but our Lord is healthy. Ooh, but a snare coming down is not great. So currently, things are looking real bad. Let's see, the net does go down on my Lord though. We can't throw down a leadership debuff, no, an armor debuff too. And that should help our troops fight a little bit better. Our continued goal to jump in onto the huntsman will be coming down. And yeah, we're trying to use our horsemen to deal with that. Some of them are getting caught up on cavalry, but we have enough horsemen where they should be able to dive into the range of the Empire. Problem is that their actual military fighting power is much higher than usual. And that will likely cause a lot of problems here, but we have managed to rout off the great swords, and if we can keep our lords alive, specifically our Tomb King, he should be able to do fine. The archers are down, and the major threats are going to be Marcus Wolfheart and any troops that rally. We have managed to cause a large rout on the Empire forces too, and we can begin chasing Marcus. These Knights of the Blazing Sun are slowing me down though. But we have our cavalry coming in. They might even be able to kill the caster here, we'll have to see. Just that the Empire cavalry is very strong here, and I feel like they'll likely be able to win the day, but we'll have to see. Our cavalry is going to be circling around now, continue trying to chase Marcus. Let's see here, we have some cavalry here. They don't need to be fighting great swords, and we can start chasing down this light caster. Another leadership debuff should do us good. And as long as we can keep these knights routing, I think we're fine. Our Tomb King is not very afraid unless Marcus is firing or these huntsmen are firing. And the fact that Marcus is being shut down is nice, but not for long. Our cavalry can only delay him for so long. So we'll summon some Ushopti to support, move in our infantry, and also continue chasing with our Tomb King. Or Tomb Prince? Tomb King. So he's going to be chasing. The Ushopti will be moving in too, same with our cavalry. And then we should be in an okay position. Big burning head comes down from the caster right before he routs. Well played to my opponent there. But if we can just get past this cavalry, I think we'll be good. A leadership debuff on them to get them to rout. And another armor debuff should put them in some trouble. Let's see, some terror over there, and we've dealt with the caster for the Empire. He did manage to use most of his winds of magic. And there's still the problem that my Tomb King is taking a ton of damage. He's getting quite low now. Marcus, I imagine, will be sniping him out. So we're going to pull him away while our cavalry deal with these huntsmen. Our Lord will be able to finish off the cavalry. And if we can get a rout on Marcus, actually, that would be a huge leadership debuff for the Empire. And from there... Oh man, thank goodness that missed. Yeah, from there we can win through terror routes. So that's going to be the goal. But a big net comes down. It means that he will be able to land some shots. But at least we've routed off the Huntsman. We've lost our Tomb Scorpion though. But Marcus is getting low. It's just that yet more cavalry is on the way. Let's see here. They get a pretty nasty charge too on our Lord. But how healthy is he? He has 500 HP. We might be able to terror out the cavalry here. And it depends on if he can take out Marcus, I think. That's likely going to be it. The problem is that he likes to kick Marcus around, and that actually gets... It gives Marcus some distance to run away. But as long as we stop him from firing, I think we should be good. Despite the balance of power being Empire favored, we just gotta kill this guy. Oh man, some huntsmen are firing in too. We'll really want to get cavalry there to pin them down. So they're going to charge in. And come on, Marcus, just die. We're going to start dodging with our Lord too, just to really make sure that he doesn't get murdered by the huntsmen. Huntsmen are now shut down. So the quest of killing Marcus continues. Going to keep chasing him. Thankfully, our Lord has a lot of leadership, and he likely won't be routing anytime soon. It'll just... The worry is that he's just going to get murdered by a stray ranged shot from Marcus. Melee attacks are much less threatening, which is why we're sticking on top of him as closely as possible. Armor debuff here is great versus the great swords of the Empire. And a big hit on Marcus means that we will likely be able to get the win here just off of the terror routes. Marcus goes down. Our Tomb King at 45 HP. Not even close. So we're not going to charge him into those great swords because the charge attack will likely just kill our Lord outright. And instead we'll hit them with cavalry and then bring in our Lord for the terror, which should be able to win the game. Wow. What a dicey battle. But we did manage to win it. The huge problem here was that my build was not optimized to fight against cavalry. Empire Knights have a lot of armor. Of course, my Lord and my Caster both have armor debuffs, which are amazing if you want to... it's amazing if you want to kill knights. In this case, like 4 knights is too much for me to handle there. And we really needed our single entities to live to actually kill them. The fact that my Lord almost died means that we almost lost the game. But it just barely managed to pull through. Wow, okay, GG. So the second game is Norsca versus the Greenskins. We've brought a mixed build of anti-infantry mammoths, anti-archer skinwolves, and anti-single entity Wolfric, along with final transmutation. Seems like that was the correct decision, since just looking at the army, we're seeing a million rogue idols. So this is going to be an interesting game. There's a ton of black orcs too, and you know what? I don't need to engage this. Instead, I much prefer my skirmishers getting in the damage here. And they're going to be hitting up the black orcs. They're going to be shooting at Skarsnik, avoiding AoE. Only does a little bit of damage. And yeah, and then we should be good. So we're trying to figure out which priority targets we want to be firing at here. And I think it is indeed Skarsnik that we want to be focus firing. It does pull back. So instead we're going to fire at the rock idols. And our wolves here with their high missile resist are happy to chase off some goblin archers. They'll likely be able to waste all of their ammunition. Let's see here. Let's do some micro. Yeah, they can waste the ammunition of these archers pretty well. And yeah, if they get some catches, they'll do a lot of damage too. So hitting the goblins for quite a bit. Big spell comes down onto my wolves. It looks like they'll be routing. A little bit unfortunate. Ooh, and they may even get chased off. We'll have to see. But in on this bigger fight here, this blob of units, I'm very tempted to get a big old final transmutation on them. And that's what we're gonna do. We're throwing it onto Skarsnik, Overcast, and looks like we'll be able to hit absolutely everything. So a very, very nice pick. You can see we've managed to kill like everything. That is absolutely devastating. And we'll now send in a boat just to put in a little bit more damage. So these guys are now severely beat up, and I think we can probably just go in for a big engagement now. 4 mammoths are moving in. Fermented fungi has gone in on my caster, but we can hit Skarsnik and yeah, just get in as much damage on him as possible. The full surround on the infantry here means that their leadership is going to be tanking. And we've routed off the Black Orcs. We've routed off the caster. The only problem is that Wulfric is getting absolutely demolished by a rogue idol, so we'll pull him back. And then we'll be good to go. Yeah, the reason that I engaged there after the final transmutation is because leadership debuffs have a large effect on the damage that you do to troops will cause large leadership debuffs. Gee. Oh well, I don't know if he's what he's talking about, but anyways, yeah. There are massive leadership debuffs that come down with damage. So the fact that the final transmutation was able to do so much means that it was important that we engaged as quickly as possible to really capitalize on that debuff. Full surround plus hitting them with missile fire is very important too. Just really layering it on because Black Orcs, of course, have extremely high leadership. So from there, or from here, it's just really just surrounding the rogue idols. And then it should be game. Wulfric, although beat up, has high enough HP to still fight these guys. And our war mammoths are doing amazing too. Should be army losses too for the greenskins. And nice. That was just a really, really gross final transmutation. Nothing especially scary there. And I'm very happy that I decided to take it. Yeah, final transmutation is the ultimate anti-blob tech. You can see 1 overcast gave me 2,300 damage value. He did 12,000 damage. And that honestly just won me the game straight up. The Black Orcs got basically nothing done. It was really just the rogue idols that hit hard at all. And that was it. Wow. So now facing up against Hadries, we've fought another armor debuff focus fire build against a relatively small army of Hadries. For him, focusing on the double dragon ogre Shaggoth and some elite, just chaos marauders. So most of his money has gone into these single entities. It looks like he's preparing for a flank overload. So we're going to reposition our troops to deal with that. Our bone giant will be sniping out these chariots. The horsemen are going to be moving up to start harassing the the weird spawn, the chaos spawn. Here they have a lot of scary armor debuffs, and we don't want to be running into. So, given this current position, that is indeed Archaon. Yeah, we really want to make sure that. Let's see here, giant. You want to be shooting at Archaon. So. The front line is pretty thin for Hadries, so we can push up this way. And we're going to turn our archers left side while bringing up our Necropolis Knights to hold the front line. Necropolis Knights should be able to hold that fairly well. and our Tomb King 2 can fight off these guys. Let's see here, we have nets at the ready for the focus firing. And it looks like Archaon's dodging, so we're going to focus the Dragon Ogres instead. Nice charging on the infantry will slow them down. And our Lord, we just have to pull him out and make sure that he doesn't get focus fired here. He's actually in a little bit of a bad position. But this may work out in the favor for us. The Burning Head does come down. But the repositioning of our spears should be pretty good. So the focus fire will begin now. We've thrown down the net. And we're throwing down the armor debuff. Now going to focus fire those Dragon Ogre Shaggoths with all of the range that we have while moving in with the Necropolis Knights. And hopefully we'll be able to take those guys out. We're putting in a lot of archer fire, but our debuffs will go down eventually, and the net will go down too. We'll have to be quite careful. Chariots are moving in too. And man, that Dragon Ogre actually managed to live, which is a little bit scary. Now chasing our Tomb King, who's now going to have to retreat once again. So a little bit of an unfortunate situation, but we still have our archer support, and as long as they don't dodge too much, we should be okay. Our infantry's holding up relatively well too, but we'll still have to be quite careful. Let's see, and yeah, I guess it really is just focusing these Shaggoths where we can. We'll use our skirmish cavalry to try and pin them down. And from here, let's just worry about Archaon and make sure that he doesn't straight up murder us. Let's see, I think a net will do well here also. So if we can take out this exalted hero, that would be nice. Necropolis Knights are also doing quite great. But the Shaggoths are coming in. Going to net this one since he's lower, because I very much want to focus fire him. Our archers are diving in. And we're going to bring the Necropolis Knights too into these Shaggoths. I think our infantry will do well enough. And the Tomb King, he's going to be dealing with the infantry. That's a nice matchup for him. So let's just see if we can finish off this Shaggoth. That's really the main problem here. Necropolis Knights pinning things down will be great. Let's see, and we'll throw down the summon here to trap this Shaggoth. So nice, we've hit the Shaggoth. He is not looking to rout anytime soon. Not a great situation. Let's see, and where is our giant? Looks like Archaon is still hunting him down. We have managed to chase off the Shaggoth, which is great. And if we can take care of the other one, that would be optimal. One of our casters is getting sniped out. But it's not the worst because we have a backup caster. Let's see. How are our Necropolis Knights doing? They're doing okay. They're going to be pinning down the large entities here. And another big armor debuff should be great. I expect that should be able to... help us win the fight against Shaggoth here. Same with this exalted hero. Ushapti are pinning down Archaon. And Burning Head goes down, doesn't do too much damage. So if we can just kill this exalted hero, I think that will be a good position. Let's see, it's another armor debuff or a leadership debuff. We're going to debuff armor since our troops are not extremely high HP. And let's see here, our Tomb Prince is going to need to evacuate now away from Archaon. He's going to loop around and hit the Shaggoth. And we're going to use the remainder of our cavalry to deal with all this infantry here. The infantry for Chaos is actually extremely low. And we still have Necropolis Knights, which means that we'll likely be able to win the fight against Archaon and this exalted hero. So we're feeling quite confident here now. Shaggoth is out of the field. We'll snipe him off with our Bone Giant, who has been staying safe behind the infantry for most of this time. And with the charge onto this exalted hero, I think that should secure the win. The infantry is no more for Chaos. And let's see here. We're out of Winds of Magic, but that's not too much of a problem. Just have to make sure that our Tomb King does not die. He's stuck between Archaon and an exalted hero. Not a good situation, but now that the hero is routed, the Shaggoth is not shattered yet. but far enough away where it's basically not a problem. At this point, it's really just leaving the fighting for the Necropolis Knights while our archers finish off Archaon. Skirmishers are doing great. Dragon Ogre is coming back, so we'll bring our skirmishers over just to rout it off. I think just the effect from fear will probably be enough. And then we'll be good to go. Yep. It does indeed rout that guy off. Ooh, Forgotten unit of Chaos Marauders, extremely low, trying to head into combat to save Archaon. Likely will not be enough. These Necropolis Knights are extremely hard to kill. If you have large lords, I took the Halberd variant. So Archaon will likely be falling here. Worst case scenario, we'll be able to cycle charge with our lord. But we're deciding not to do that here just because it is a little bit of a risk. Archaon lands some good hits that would actually finish off our lord. So instead he's going to be charging these Chaos Marauders. We'll even hit them with some archers to debuff their armor. And then yeah, then we should be good. They're actually already on the verge of routing. And a very fast terror rout from them actually, along with a an army losses onto Archaon. So, a nice build. I did bring this build is meant to counter low model builds. If he had instead gone for a ton of Chaos Marauders, my build would have been less effective for sure. The idea of focus firing the Shaggoths worked out okay, but not amazing. And the Bone Giant was a little bit disappointing. I think I likely could have switched him out with like a Casket of Souls, and I would have done just as well. Necropolis Knights, though, got silver chevrons. What is that? Yeah, Necropolis Knights, absolute heroes here. They surrounded the Shaggoths, surrounded Archaon. They did great. Our two casters did their job, and our lord, with his terror, did quite good too. And look at that damage on the archers. Absolutely amazing. So for my second game against Hadri's, we've brought a Vampire Coast build against what appears to be an infantry heavy style coming in from Hadri's. We're going to turn our guns to fire in onto his troops. And let's see, we're going to position our scurvy dogs to cycle charge these dryads. Going to be the strategy here. Some Glade Riders with spears are at the ready. They do not advance on my dogs, which allows them to charge. And let's see, there's some cavalry along the flanks that we'll have to worry about. Turn our guns to face them. Move our dogs and pull them back. And our guns will really need to hold off the cavalry as best as they can. They're collapsing rather quickly along the back line. And let's see, that could be a problem. Could definitely be a problem. Noctilus with his summons be going down. But this is a full committed rush with cavalry from the Wood Elves. Not a great situation. They do manage to jump in onto my troops through the gaps. And I think that's basically GG. I made some misplays there. And if I had more halberds and a better surround on my army, I think that would have done well. But the main failure point here was the fact that my deck gunners and my halberds were a little bit too far away. Nevertheless, we still have these rotting Prometheans. So it's not fully over. The problem is just that we've lost many of our high damage troops. So let's pull our scurvy dogs. Use a Wraith Storm over here. And we're going to keep the scurvy dogs safe and in deep reserve. I think that's going to be the way to win it here. The fact that these rotting Prometheans are so powerful too will be very helpful. And the question is if they can kill all these dryads. It is Drycha. And she is not, she's not as scary as Orion. She doesn't have the anti-large. So our last saving grace, really, is going to be these Prometheans. The ability to chase off cavalry will be extremely important. But man, I'm just kicking myself that I forgot to put my halberds a little bit further back. But it happens. Balance of power, definitely not in our favor. But we'll pull back some dogs to begin chasing some dryads. And from there, we'll see how we can carry this out. Noctilus 2 is quite scary. You can put in a lot of damage here. If he can stay in combat long enough. Army losses too are definitely a large threat, and my rotting Prometheans are on their way out, sadly. So I think I'll just call it GG here. And that's gonna be game. So, misplay from my part, not preparing enough for the rush. Expecting more of a kite game instead. But it happens. I think my army positioning too could have been a lot more effective there. Because I should have been able to protect these deck gunners a lot better. Optimally, they would have fired in on these wild riders as they came in, and I would have a wall of halberds in the back line to defend them. But it is a nice lesson in preparing for that rush. So GG to Hadries as we move on to the ace match. So for the final game, playing Bretonia against Hadries' Tomb Kings. Oh man, and he has gone for a box build. Arc in the Black and Spirit Leech spams are going to be a pain. So you know what? We're going to put the Green Knight in mega reserves. He's going to be hanging back until this Hyro Titan is essentially dead, and until the ultra late game. So that's the plan. We did manage to get Hadries to lose money on taking Carrion. They're actually not especially useful in this situation. And our goal is to dodge the casket shots. As soon as they fire, we'll pull back with our army, and then we'll be good to go. Go Trek 2. Be able to march in without much worry. And let's see, casket shot is coming down, so we pull back with our infantry. And nice, we managed to dodge most of those shots. There may be some supportful stalkers here, but right now our aggressive push should be pretty good. Green Knight is more or less going to have to stay in reserves forever. But that's okay. We have Gotrek in a fairly nice situation. Basket of Souls, although very high damage, you can dodge it. And right now we're pretty on point with our dodges. I'm quite enjoying this. We'll move up with our Knights. When it fires, we'll pull back. That should be able to dodge the damage. Let's see, and there we go. It does fire. We pull to the side. Oh, and it does hit. Thankfully, not for too much. The problem now is, are these Tomb Guard? Looks like probably not. We're feeling okay there, and we should be spamming spells onto these guys. Shem's Burning Gaze hitting my Knights. It's gonna be a little bit painful. And let's see, Gotrek, nice. Finding a solid target in the form of the Tomb Scorpion. He will get knocked back though. Ooh, and nice play by Hadries actually. Pulling that Tomb Scorpion just to push Gotrek back a little bit. That's actually pretty impressive. Let's see, Skeleton Summon 2. Classic part of his play. And oh, what's this? Looks like he's actually going in for a pick on the Fey Enchantress. Now with the main line fighting underway, we're going to bring in the... We're going to bring in the Green Knight, bring in the Cavalry. We're going to begin charging into this back line here. Our Knights will be moving in to protect the Fey Enchantress, but oh wow, they're actually really murdering Gotrek. He's going to have to pull back. Ooh, and crazy focus fire, but he's not the only single entity we have. We also have the Green Knight, who will be moving in. Gotrek, you need healing. And let's see here, he's now going to stick into the fight. We've surrounded the core of the Tomb Kings there with our troops, and we're stalling these halberds with our army. He has finished off Gotrek, sadly enough, but we've surrounded this major force of the Tomb Kings, and we may be able to pull out a win there. Our infantry is holding up very strong too. We've shut down the Casket of Souls. Fey Enchantress will be fighting a fight against all this infantry here to use her Mortis engine effect. Let's see here, another pass down there will do well. And the Green Knight, he's going to be running into Arc in the Black. Hopefully we'll be able to snipe him out, but we'll have to see how this fight goes. This definitely could get a little bit dicey. Casket of Souls is still operational too, but we have a huge infantry advantage. The problem is infantry isn't especially strong versus the Tomb Kings here. We'll have to see how this ends up. Our Knights are fighting quite well over there, trading out pretty effectively. But the Knights along this side are actually getting pretty compromised. They've been surrounded by spears. Let's pretty unfortunate. Let's see, how's the Green Knight doing? He's putting in some damage. He's hit Arkin for quite a bit now. But all the burst damage went down on Gotrek, which is a huge buff for us. We've shut down the Casket of Souls, and our infantry is numerous. They will likely be able to come back. Our cavalry, however, fleeing the battlefield in shame. Let's see if we can get them back in. And let's see if this Green Knight can continue fighting on. Spirit Leeches have gone in, and oh geez, the Hyrule Titan is magic damage. Ooh, misplay on my part. I did not remember that the Hyrule Titan did magic damage, so we actually left our Green Knight to die. Very big misplay on our part. But we still have the Fey Enchantress, and she can be quite scary herself. We're going to bring her in and see if she can clear out the single entities here. Casket of Souls 2 is on low HP, but the balance of power is definitely not great, having lost our 2 single entities. One, just because of a snipe on Gotrek, and the other, a major misplay, leaving the Green Knight to die. Casket is going down. We still have infantry, but now they're on the verge of routing. I think this will likely be game. If we had a regrowth, we probably could have saved Gotrek. But here, I'm going to call it GG. Well played. Nice. So, AGs with the strong snipes on the single entities, reading the meta extremely well, and pulling out a second victory. So, good on him. Very nice build. I think if we had kept that regrowth instead of going for anti-infantry, we really could have won it there. I think I just let Gotrek get sniped out. Green Knight, running him into the Hyrule Titan, absolutely the worst idea ever. Yeah, that was really rough. Let's see, the Necropolis Knights we did shut down properly, but my main single entity killers actually fell apart. So that's a win for him. And yeah, and then we'll probably be calling